Hi, greetings and welcome. I'm Michael Belda, and I'm with Crazy Monkey Media, and we're an internet marketing, online marketing, brand optimization, and digital media marketing agency. Those things all kind of mean the same thing in this day and age. It's just kind of how you want to present yourself. But that's basically what we do. We amplify your brand. We make you highly visible with our digital media marketing strategies. And today we're going to be actually viewing a case study for a family law attorney in Seattle, which is a very competitive market. Seattle's a very large city, as I'm sure most of you are well aware. Before I get into that, though, I want to just give you a bit of my background, just kind of so you know a little bit more about me and who I am and what I've done. I've basically been involved in marketing my entire life. I was 10 years as a real estate broker. I loved that industry until interest rates went to 20%. Not many people could buy homes at 20% interest. And I decided it would be easier to sell paper yielding 20% than try and get somebody to qualify for a loan at 20%. And so I switched careers and became a stockbroker financial consultant for Shearson Lehman American Express. And I was in that business for 10 years. I enjoyed the '87 crash. If you weren't in the industry, you have no idea how close we came to not having a New York Stock Exchange. It was that severe. After that industry, I kind of got stale after the '87 crash, and I kind of saw the corruptness in that industry. And I just got a real distaste for it. And so I had a friend that was starting a high-tech company built around in-field detection instrumentation, I guess would be the best way to put it. This device worked off of a radioactive isotope, and it was utilized in mining and soil contamination applications, but it was at about this time that lead-based paint became a big problem in the housing market, particularly in federal housing, and our instrument was the one chosen by the government to be spec'd in all their housing projects. And so for 5 years we traveled around training housing authorities, environmental firms, military bases. All of these places had to be tested for lead-based paint because they were typically all in very old buildings and they were full of lead-based paint. But that was a very fun run. And after 5 years we sold this company to a publicly traded company for $14 million. So it was a very successful venture. Now, from there, I went into internet marketing. It was at about the time we sold that company that I saw the internet for the first time, and the light bulb went on, and I immediately saw where it was headed, what it was going to do, what it opened up for marketing, and somehow I just immediately grasped that. I mean, it was the most phenomenal thing I'd ever seen, and it still is. And we got involved in building websites and marketing for online clients back in '95 when there were only 30 million people online. So I've seen all the growth take place, done and tried virtually every strategy out there. We know what works. We know what works for our clients. And so it's that experience that we bring to the table. My partner and I, Nancy Collins. Nancy has 15 years of high-tech experience, and comes from the hardware software side. So together we make a very dynamic team, and we just bring a wealth of experience to the table for any of our clients in their online marketing endeavors. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do an SEO and internet marketing study for attorneys. I'm going to examine one of our attorney clients, as I mentioned, in Seattle, and we're going to talk about what we've done for her. But before I actually get into a live part of the presentation where we go online, there's some things that we want to talk about first to make sure we're all on the same page so we all have the same basic business principle understandings, okay? Number one, and this is true, let me make another point here. Whether you're an attorney, a dentist, a cosmetic surgeon, or any other type of professional service provider, everything I talk about in here is for you. I mean, the same principles apply regardless of your niche, okay? It's not just attorneys that we work for. I've happened to have chosen this one to do a case study on, but what I talk about in here relates to you regardless of the type of business you own. Whether you're a dentist, a doctor, a cosmetic surgeon, a roofer, it doesn't matter. The things we're talking about in here work for everybody. These are strategies that work for everybody, okay? Okay, number one, there are only 3 ways to grow your practice or your business. And if anyone can come up with another way, I would love to hear it. Number one, you can acquire new clients. Number two, you can get clients to come in more frequently. Or number three, you can raise prices on your services. And so, obviously, everybody is looking for new clients. To get clients to come in more frequently, there are some businesses that work well this way. Like a cosmetic surgeon, for interest. Cosmetic surgeons have up to 27, 28 different protocols that they can offer. And they can do a lot of cross-selling, upselling, particularly in the non-surgical protocols that they offer. So they can get clients to come in more frequently by offering them different services. Okay? And that's something attorneys could do too, but sometimes that's difficult in the attorney field because many of you are already specialized in your endeavors, right? I mean, attorneys kind of break down automatically into their niches. So DUIs, they're bankruptcy attorneys, family law, estate planning attorneys, etc. And so, depending on the services you offer, you may or may not get clients to come in more frequently to your law practice. Or you can raise prices on your services. We know we're in a very competitive environment right now, right? The consumer's pinched, and so many people are reluctant to do this. You know, there's actually been studies done, though, that show that raising the prices on your service, you'll typically lose 2% of your existing clientele, and the 98% that stays more than makes up for the loss of those clients, okay? And so there's been studies done both ways, but there really are only three ways to grow your practice, and it's those three things I talked about. And the one that most people do is it's very competitive to get new clients. I'd say that's why we're on this call, right? This is what we want to talk about. And then we also are going to talk about a successful marketing strategy. And that involves, one, high visibility. In other words, people can find you wherever they look, okay? They see you everywhere, so you're always top of mind. Two, high authority, expert in your niche or your field. Who do people want to do business with? Who do you want to do business with, right? You want to do business with people that are the best. And so it's all about public perception. And you need to understand that you need to somehow position yourself as a very high authority or the expert in your niche and field, okay? And then number three, you need to understand consumer behavior and the selection process they go through to choose your business over a competition. Okay? And so these are the things that we're going to be talking about in this case study as we proceed through this. And so one of the first business principles that I want to talk about is this one, and that is you have to know the lifetime value of a customer, client, or patient depending on the business niche you're in. Now, as a law firm, you deal with clients. You need to know what your average client is worth to you. Okay? You need to know your numbers. You have to know the lifetime value of your client, customer, or patient in order to determine how much you can spend on sales and marketing to acquire a new customer, client, or patient. Makes sense, doesn't it? Huh? So you've got to know your numbers. And most of the time I find businesses don't really know their numbers. Some do, some don't, but most of them have no idea. And so this is why so many people get messed up on their marketing. This is a real problem with small business. And it's not your fault because the data is so intensive that you don't have the time to review it and go over it and understand what's working for you or not working for you, right? And we're going to talk about this more at the end of this seminar. But you have to know the value of your client, customer, or patient. Now, this attorney that I'm sharing with you today, her average client is around 20,000. Okay? Now you take and then you take a dentist, and I know a dentist's lifetime value of a new dental patient is over $40,000, and typical first year value of a new dental patient is $2,000. So most dentists I work with spend $250 to $500 to acquire a new patient, and it's more than worth it because it's going to return 4 times to them the first year and 20 times to them over the life of the patient, right? So you have to know your numbers. You have to know how much you can spend on marketing. I also get questions about what percentage of my budget should I spend on marketing? And there are some rules of thumbs. If you're a new business just starting out, you need to spend 20% of your revenue on marketing. You need to understand that marketing is the only expense you have that generates revenues. Nothing else you do generates revenues. It provides a place or people to assist you, but it doesn't actually bring customers, clients, or patients in the door, right? And so that's why you have to know your numbers. And so, whether you're a vet, a cosmetic surgeon, a lawyer, or a dentist, you've got to know your numbers in order to know how much you can spend on marketing. So if a new business needs to spend 20, an established business needs to be spending about 10% of their revenues on marketing, and a mature business needs to be spending about 5% of their revenues on marketing. Okay, so that gives you a rule of thumb. 20% if you're new, 10% if you're a growing business, right? And 5% if you're a mature business. Now, the big problem that everybody has, regardless of what type of business they're in, is breaking through what I like to call the trust barrier. Everybody has to break through this trust barrier. There's natural distrust, and I'll explain to you why here on the next slide. But if you deal in customers, that takes less trust, okay? Clients take more trust. Patients are the most trust because people are trusting their health, and they're actually dealing with physical pain here. But a lot of people have a fear of pain. For dentists, there's a huge fear of going to dentists, right? But you'll notice that typically the more money's involved in the transaction, the higher the trust barrier, okay? For me to go to a restaurant and spend $50 and have a bad meal is not a big financial risk. I never have to go to that restaurant again if I'm unhappy with their service. For me to lay out $5,000 to an attorney for a retainer, there's a much higher trust factor there, right? There's a much higher trust barrier you have to break through. And the same holds true with people and I like to call this the entrepreneurial medical practitioners, because these guys aren't associated with hospitals and stuff. They're entrepreneurs just like any other business you see listed here. They're just in the health market. And so there's a trust barrier you have to break through. And there's certain steps you need to take to do that. And that's some of what we're going to talk about today. But it's important you understand your trust barrier is a huge barrier for any business, regardless of what type of business they're in. And you have to look for ways to overcome that. One of the ways that many businesses overcome it is, 30-day money-back guarantee on products. Typically see that on products. Not many attorneys or stockbrokers are going to offer you a refund if you're unhappy with the outcome of your investment or your case, right? So there's certain ways that we utilize online marketing to help our customers break through this, and we'll be talking about those as we go. And the reason you have to deal with this trust barrier is because people make emotionally based decisions, all right? There's not anything really logical or rational about the way people do things. I think we'll all be the first to admit this. 70% of decisions are based on fear, and it's subconscious, not conscious behavior. And they're driven by the fear emotions: fear of loss, fear of the unknown, fear of being hurt, fear of rejection, fear of pain, fear of ridicule, fear of failure, etc. And those are what drives these people. And it leads to something we call avoidance. We will do anything to avoid a painful or unpleasant experience, including walk away from that which we know would be best for us. Okay? That's really what it boils down to. And when I say subconscious, these fears really exist at a subconscious level. There's an area of your brain called the amygdala, and it is the primitive part of your brain. It's the lizard brain we all have. And this is where primordial instincts reside. That's where this stuff comes from. And this has been built up over millions and millions and millions of years, and it's what has allowed the survival of the human race, all right? Our natural fear and instincts. You might call it like the hair on the back of your neck, the hair on your arms come up. That's a natural instinctual instinct, okay? It's warning you. There's fear or danger in the area, right? You don't know where it comes from. It's just all of a sudden you're aware that something's not right. Well, these are the same instincts and emotions that people have when they're looking online for businesses. And you have to have things online that will break through that trust barrier and have them reach out to you. And what does that? It's the pleasure emotions, gratification emotions. It's all in how you talk to people and present yourself to people. Again, about public perception. So what are some of the pleasure emotions? Love, sex, marriage, children, your home, your car, your boat, your clothes, your possessions, right? Those all give you pride. And what this tells us is that we, as consumers, seek out that which gives or promises us the expectation of a great experience. This is what everybody's looking for. We've heard about 5-star restaurants and 5-star resorts and 5-star experiences our whole lives, and it's become the expectation of the population that every business should promise us that expectation of a great customer, client, or patient experience. Okay? So this is what you have to understand about today's modern consumer. They're more selective than ever before, and if you have the right things in place, they will choose your business over your competition. Conversely, if you don't, they're not going to choose you. Okay? So you really need to understand how that consumer psychology plays into your marketing. So what are some psychological buying triggers that overcome those fear-based emotions, right? Okay, authority. And by authority, I'll talk about that a little bit more. There's different ways to get authority, and you'll see what I'm talking about when I share it with you. Proof, a case study, like I'm doing a case study here to prove my expertise at online marketing and results that we get and derive for our clients, okay? So when you can show people what you do and that you do it successfully, that is a psychological buying trigger. Scarcity. Okay, scarcity is, it's not used that much among attorneys because they're not really in a situation to do it. Scarcity typically implies, let me give you an idea, like a 3-day sale at this price only. That's a scarcity type of marketing ploy. And you will see some dentists do it. Dentists will have a 3-day special on teeth whitening, for instance, or they'll offer a free exam for a short period of time in order to attract new clients in the door. Attorneys, many of them offer free consultations, but it's not a scarcity ploy because so many of you guys do it, okay? But scarcity is very powerful when used in the right way. Likability. Do you need to like people to do business with them? Most people would say yes. I mean, if people don't like you, they're not going to do business with you typically, right? I mean, if you have an abrasive personality or there's a clash there, they're going to choose somebody else. So one way to really get people a view of you is with video. People make decisions about your sincerity and things from video, and they'll decide from that if they like you or not. So, I mean, likability goes a long ways in attracting new clients. Social proof, public approval, we're going to talk about that more later, and specialization. Now, as I mentioned before, attorneys kind of break down that way anyway. You kind of choose an area of specialization to go into when you open a practice. You're either family law, your DUI, your bankruptcy, your estate planning. You may be a criminal defense attorney. So specialization kind of lends itself to the legal arena on its own. Okay? Now, as we continue on here with this, I want to pose some questions for you to ask yourself. We've talked about some business practices and principles here briefly, but ask yourselves these questions as I continue through this today, based upon what I'm showing you and based upon your own online or internet marketing presence, okay? Why would a potential client choose you over the competition? Okay? What makes you the authority or expert in your particular industry, business, or niche? And do people know you're the expert? Okay? There's a difference in saying you're the expert and you're the authority, but can the public perceive that based on your online presence? And so it's really time for some honest self-examination. If you were the consumer, would you choose your business or the competition? You can't get much more honest than that, right? And so I would ask you to ask yourselves these questions as we're proceeding through this demo, okay? Now I'm going to get set up and I'll be right back here and we'll continue this video. Okay, we're going to go live on the internet. In fact, I'm live now. This is Crazy Monkey Media. This is our site, crazymonkeymedia.net. You might want to write that down. We got many ways on our site that you can contact us. You can call us. You can fill out a form. You can even get a free brand optimization consultation. And as you can see, we're on mobile. We develop and design mobile responsive sites. So that will adjust here in a second as it shades down. There it goes. So you can always tell if the site's mobile by just narrowing your browser. It will adjust to the mobile view. Okay? Now, this is a site we'll be looking at today. This is our client, Dubois Hearing Law Group out of Seattle. Seattle is a very large city, probably the largest city north of San Francisco. And west of a long ways or east of a long ways. And so, several million people live there. There's 35,000 attorneys or so in Seattle. Very competitive, highly competitive space. Now, we talked about things like having a nice website and putting authority on it, and you can see that she does that. When people look online at you, they expect you to be, you have to meet consumer expectations. They expect you to have videos. They expect you to be on G+. They expect you to have Facebook set up. Okay? Any normal business does in this day and age, so that is social proof right there. Okay? To people that, hey, you're serious. Okay? Right off the bat. Now, proper structure of a website. This is a very interesting client. We've been working with her about 4 years ago, and at the time we started working for her, she had, I think, 2 attorneys, and she had 1 office location. And she was a very small boutique family law and divorce firm. And you can see now that since we've been working with her, she now has offices in Seattle, Bellevue, and Kirkland, Washington. So she's expanded. She has 6 or 7 attorneys now and 5 or 6 paralegals. And so her business is growing leaps and bounds. And I'll give you an idea of how her numbers work out when we get through this. Okay? So nice looking site, stays on message, sidebar, all her phone numbers and addresses very prominent, so that people can decide who to call based on their location in the Seattle metropolitan area. Authority badging. She's one of only 6 attorneys in the University of Washington Medicine directory. She's a premier lawyer. They have super lawyers. This is authority. This is what I mean by having authority on your website. You can tell by looking at this person has stature, okay? And that authority on that site passes to the viewer, all right? Areas we serve down here, click for your free divorce planner. So what we've set up for her is a nurturing system. People can sign up for this free 50-page divorce planner, and obviously they sign it up, they see what's involved, they fill it out, and they call her for a consultation, okay? So we have a nurturing system and a prospecting system set up right here on her website with this free report, so that she always has people clicking on this, she has people going to it, and getting her free divorce planner, which leads to them calling her for a consult and turning into her attorney. So she's got a lead generation and nurturing system built into this site. Now, remember I showed you how it was mobile? Let's check hers. Oh my God, this one isn't mobile. This guy's a clown. He's telling us all this good stuff, and that site's not even mobile. Well, we did it differently in this regard. We deal in both mobile responsive. We can build a mobile responsive website, which is like mine, which I first showed you, which automatically adjusts to fit any screen size. Or we also do mobile specific. And with her, we chose mobile specific. Now, how did we come to this conclusion to do this instead of a full mobile responsive in her case? Well, here's the deal. There's 120 pages approximately on this site, and we know her numbers. We know the average number of page views on this site from her visitors is 2. If most people looked at their analytics, they would be shocked at how much time people actually spend on their websites. Typically, it's less than 2 minutes, and they view less than 2 pages. And when people typically surf a site, they're going like this. And they see one thing that attracts their attention, they click on it, they go through, they scroll, see something else, click on it, go through till they find what they want. People don't spend a lot of time on websites regardless of how big they are, okay? I mean, it's just not in people's business. And you take all of that content from a legal site and try reading it on a mobile phone, it becomes very difficult to do. You know, reading a lot of content on a mobile device isn't the greatest experience in the world. Now, you have to be mobile because, well, I'll share those statistics, but the majority of your searches are now on mobile devices, okay? And people are looking for you on a mobile phone. So you need to have your marketing messages appear front and center on their mobile device when they hit you with that phone, with that smartphone, okay? And so that's what we've done on this site. We know the pages they go to, they know what they want. And that's what we put here. We put her client reviews, okay? And I'll be talking to you more about those as we go here. We've got all the information on her attorneys. And they can just click on those and go to a page that tells more about the attorney on each site, right? We have an About Dubois Carey Law and just a brief description of their primary areas of service, okay? This is what people are always looking for. They're trying to find where you're located, maps and directions of how to get there. And so we've got maps and directions for all of her separate offices on her mobile site. And all of this is tap to call. Obviously, it's mobile, right? So tap to call. Contact form. We also put the Get Your Free Divorce Planner here. This goes back to that page, and this page is also mobile. You'll notice here when I scroll that down, it adjusts. So we've got that all set up on mobile, all right? So people can access it desktop or mobile. Refers to a friend, save your phone, service the process, and connect with us on any of our social networking sites, right? Or they can click to go to a full website. And so we have everything here we need. Call, email, see our website, same with the icons, and everything we need is here. I mean, they can see the services, they can call, they see the reviews, everything important to consumers here, and this little mobile website converts like crazy. I mean, we see her traffic. Over a third of her visitors are on mobile. She gets over 1,000 visits a month to this mobile site, and this mobile site converts at 6.35%. 6.35%, which is incredible conversion rate. Most people convert less than one visitor to a client or customer. This converts at 6, and there's a lot that goes into that. We count conversion. If somebody emails them off the site, that's a conversion. If they call off the site, that's a conversion. If they fill out the form, that's a conversion. Those are obviously people either making appointments or emailing and contacting on a form to get an appointment or more information. So those are conversion statistics. 6.35% off of this mobile device. Okay? Incredible. Now, the other reason we chose this type of mobile site has to do with ease of usability and visibility, but also a bit of psychology and how people may connect with a divorce attorney. While this law firm is a family law firm, 90% of their business is probably divorce. Okay? And so when people are going to look for information about getting a divorce from their spouse, do you think they're more inclined to do that on the family desktop? Or are they more inclined to do that in their car or at work or at a friend's house on the privacy of their smartphone screen? Okay? So there's a little bit of thought that went into this. And so for this particular client, we wanted a website, a mobile website that fit the phone perfectly, that was easy to use, big buttons they could get their information, easy to navigate around. And these are much easier to navigate around than a mobile responsive site that shrinks down to fit the screen. Okay? And so it's worked out very, very well. Okay, let's go take a look at some search results. And I don't think I need to tell anybody about the importance of Google. It gets 80% of search traffic. Okay? It's the consumer go-to for finding local businesses. There's other sources they use too, which we'll talk about and why it's important for you to be there. But Google is numero uno and has been for a long time, right? So, Divorce Attorney Seattle. Here we go. Dubois Carey Law Group, right here. Our client, as you recall, right? Dubois Carey Law Group. So now this is a change. It just happened in Google about 2 months ago. They used to show 10 businesses here or 7 businesses here. Now they've gone to what we call a 3-top box. So only 3 local businesses get listed in this. And so, again, realizing we're looking, Divorce Attorney Seattle, 360,000 results. She's ranked number 3. Now, there's other good things here too, in that we have gotten other front page listings for her. We have her video on the front page, and we have her law site on the front page here down below at the bottom, in addition to showing in the box. So she's got 3 out of the 7 of the front page listings. Now, we talked about authority, okay, and we talked about having, like on her website, those authority badges and her reviews That gives you authority. That gives you social proof. You need to understand the trust factor that happens with Google. The reason Google gets 80% of the search traffic is because people trust them to give them the best advice and the best results. Okay? And when Google lists you on the front page, that trust in Google transfers to you if you've got the stuff there to back it up. Now, I cannot stress for you how important it is to have online reviews. Online reviews, and notice her rating, 4.7, 4.4, and 5.0. Online reviews are the go-to for consumers to confirm you are who you say you are and that you deliver the experience that they're looking for. Remember I talked about how everybody wants that promise of a great experience? This is how they define that. They define it by your online reviews. You're going to be amazed at the stats I show you on reviews and what a difference it makes. Google says in their studies 4 times more people click on people with good reviews than people with no reviews or bad reviews. I want you to ponder that for a minute and look at your own marketing plan in relation to this. Now, if you're a DUI attorney or a bankruptcy attorney, this is going to present a problem for you. Because there's not many people that have been picked up driving drunk, and there's not many people that have gone through a bankruptcy that want to make a public review that discloses that to the public about themselves. I understand the issues involved there, the privacy issues involved there. But there are attorneys that can get online reviews, and family law and divorce are one of those. So and the same goes, every dentist, every cosmetic surgeon, every doctor should have a campaign in place to get these online reviews. Let me tell you why. Let me go over here and see if I can give you an example real quick. I've pre-tabulated some of the, or pre-populated some of these tabs. Yeah, here you go. Here's an example. This is Alimony Attorney Seattle. She's got 5 stars. This guy's got 4.7. Tell me, is anyone going to click on this guy? If you're a consumer, this goes back to the question, as a consumer, which of these businesses would you click on? Which of these businesses would you click on? Now, I have a lot of business owners. I'll start explaining this to me, and they go, oh, everybody knows those reviews are all phony. That's just not true. I know every review this client's gotten is a good, viable review from a real client. I know every review on my website, and we have a 5-star rating, probably the only internet marketing digital agency you'll find that has a 5-star rating. I know all of our reviews are from real clients that are honest reviews. And the important thing here is it doesn't matter what you think. It's what the public perceives it to be. You have to start doing things based on what the consumer wants, not what you think. Okay? And all statistics show that having online reviews is one of the most powerful marketing things there is. And it's also the thing that should be first in line. If you get on the front page of Google and you have no reviews, does that do you any good? I want you to ponder this. Who are they going to choose? They're going to choose the people with reviews. Are they going to choose you? Who would you choose? Who would you choose, right? So there's a proper methodology of the steps that need to be taken before you undertake certain aspects of your marketing plan. And reviews is one of the first things that you should be doing, okay? So let's move ahead here. Again, these are different search terms. Well, let me get back here to Divorce Attorney Seattle. So you've seen that we have her up here in the box, and we've got 2 other listings here on the page, her website and a video. Now, video is one of the most powerful marketing things that you can be using. Video fits phones perfectly, right? I mean, smartphones are made for video. It is a medium that every consumer is comfortable with. We've been brought up going to movies and watching TV our whole lives. Video is a comfortable medium. And as I mentioned, many people prefer video over reading on a smartphone. Think about that. What's easier on a smartphone? Video or trying to read on them? Okay? And so I have seen statistics that state by 2018, 80% of all searches in Google will be for video. This is where it's headed. Video is huge right now, and it's going to continue to be huge. So we have undertaken a massive video marketing campaign for our client, and if I go in here to the video wall, here she is on the video wall. Here she is, here she is, here she is, here she is, and here she is. She's got 6 out of the 10 spots on the video wall. And any other page you go to, she's just covering the video wall. Here she is, here she is, here she is, here she is. She's got the entire second page on the video wall. And she has a couple videos here. We've done 34 videos for her. She has a couple of those videos that have over 10,000 views. Okay? So that tells you that people watch these videos. And video marketing is one of the most powerful things that you can be doing. Okay? This is called SEO domination. Okay? For those of you that are wondering. Okay. How about some more search terms? Here's Best Divorce Attorney Seattle. And you can see she's right here, top 3. Now, no reviews. No reviews are as bad reviews. How many people do you think are clicking on her, even though she's number 1 for this particular search term, when you've got 5-star rated attorneys just below her? Are you starting to see how this consumer perception starts coming into play here? Again, which one would you choose? Who would you click on? The consumer goes to the one with the stars, right? That's the way it works. And again, on this page, we have a video on this page for her. So she's got 2 front page listings for Best Divorce Attorney Seattle. And again, if we go to the video walls, boom, 1, 2. She's got 2 at the top, and then she'll own the rest of it. Okay? There she is. This is, you see her everywhere. Okay? So again, dominating SEO, dominating video. Okay, Family Law Attorney Seattle. Dubois Carey, number 1, 5-star. McKinley Urban, for those of you not familiar, McKinley Urban is a huge firm, hundreds of attorneys, and they're located in Seattle and Portland and a couple other places, but they're a monstrous firm. And so she's doing extremely well considering where she started 3 or 4 years ago. And again, if we go check the video wall, I'm sure she's there. Yeah, Seattle Divorce, Amanda Dubois, Amanda Dubois. Amanda Dubois, Amanda Dubois. So 4 out of the 10 slots. And then from thereafter, I mean, you can see how often she pops up. I mean, she has authority, okay? She appears more than anyone else. She has high visibility. All those things that we talked about, you see us implementing here in an actual marketing plan. Now, why do you want to be on the first page of Google? Because only 5% of people ever go to the second page. That's why. If you're not on the front page of Google, Google is doing you no good. Okay? Because only 5% of people. Here's another search term. Alimony Attorney Seattle, Dubois Carey Liger. Okay? And again, Seattle Divorce Attorney. So again, 2 listings on that page. If we go to the video wall, Amanda, Amanda, Amanda. Top 3. There's 4 out of the top 5, 5 out of the top 6. Well, you can see she dominates the wall. She's got 8 out of the 10 videos there. Okay? Again, this is called domination. And it's putting yourself in places where people look, and you have high visibility, and you have high authority, and she has high trust, just based on what the consumer perceives about her from doing a search in Google. Do you see how that psychology starts coming into play here? She's got rankings for every Seattle family law divorce term you can think of, and she's got a 5-star rating, and she's got video, virtually owns a video wall for every search term, videos in addition to her website on the front page. Does she have authority in your eyes? How would your law firm compare to hers, for instance? Remember I asked you to do an honest self-examination? How do you stack up to this? This is what your competitors are doing to you, okay? And you need to understand how the consumer behavior works, because if you don't understand that, you're in deep trouble. Spousal Maintenance Attorney Seattle. You can see here, they've broken away from the box, and it's just listing websites, but you can see right here, 2 listings on a page, right? And again, if you go to the videos, boom. Amanda, top 3, 4 on the top 5 or 6, Amanda. So 6 or 7 on the page again, okay? This search term is Child Custody Attorney Seattle. And again, Dubois Law, Child Custody Archives, front page, right in the middle, okay? And again, if we go to video, she's not going to have... We had a funny thing happen to Amanda. And here she is. Here, and here. Attorneys are... Amanda made 2 child custody videos. And when you're dealing... I'll go ahead and disclose this. When you're dealing with attorneys typically deal with what they call parenting people that help devise parenting plans between divorcing spouses for child custody purposes. In one of her child custody videos, Amanda mentioned the name of the paternity planner that she used, and in one of her cases, an opposing attorney watched her videos and brought that up in court in the fact that she was somehow being unscrupulous. And so Amanda had us just pull those videos. It was a ridiculous claim, but we need to recorrect those videos and get them up. Okay? So you're not going to find a lot of videos about her in child custody because we kind of got that taken down. International child custody. Seattle's a big international city. Microsoft is there. They bring in thousands of people from outside the country. And international child custody can become an issue. A foreign person marries an American, they have children, divorce. He moves back to his country, she stays here. So number 1, okay. Spousal maintenance attorney. Now, she just opened in Bellevue about 3 months ago. And we're already starting to make inroads there with her search. And so, right here, spousal maintenance attorney Bellevue. Here, this is how search works. You start scooping up terms like this that aren't as highly searched as divorce attorney Bellevue, and before you know it, you're ranked on page 1 for divorce attorney Bellevue. Okay? These are called long tail keywords. Anything over 3 keywords long. And this is typically how people search. I want to point this out to you too. 67% of people use a city modifier to make sure they're getting the businesses right in their local area. Okay? And so your site should be SEO'd like this. If people are using a city modifier in search, you need to have your city names on your site. Okay? Just like we do on hers, right here. Serving Seattle, Bellevue, and Kirkland. Right? And so, lots of tab ads on. International child custody, we finished that. Spousal maintenance attorney Bellevue. So again, we've just opened this up. Here we have her with a video on the front page. Videos are easy, and here's her main website on the front page too. So spousal maintenance attorney Bellevue, she's already got 2 front page listings, all right, between her video and her website. So we're starting to make inroads there. We've already basically done a lot with see, she's already ranking. See, look at on videos. We just moved into this town. This was the number 1 attorney there when we started. We've pretty much taken her down quite a bit. Amanda's top 4 now, and she's got 7 out of the 10 spots. Okay, so Molly Kinney, this whole page used to belong to Molly Kinney. Molly Kinney's got 2 there now, and Amanda's smothering it. International Child Custody Attorney Bellevue. And you can see the Dubois Carey Law Group here. Now here's something interesting. You notice on all those Seattle listings, she had 5-star and 13 or 14 reviews. She's in a new office now. You have to get reviews for each location you're in. Okay? So now we have her working on getting reviews for her Bellevue location. And we'll do the same thing for her Kirkland location. Okay? But in Google Plus, each of these becomes a separate location, and the reviews are tracked separately for that location. Okay? And then here she is right here. So here's a listing here. Here's Dubois Law here. So again, 2 rankings on that page. And Seattle Divorce Attorney, Dubois Carey Law Group. People search 2 ways, and you have to show up both ways. They do the city modifier first, like here, Seattle Divorce Attorney. And I think one I showed you over here was Divorce Attorney Seattle. See? So if people search with the city modifier both ways, you have to make sure you're showing up in search results when people use it both ways, right? That makes sense, right? So Seattle Family Law, and again, previously we looked at Family Law Attorney Seattle. So again, with the city modifier reversed, and again, she shows up number 1. Now you notice though on this page her video doesn't show, right? Here her website shows it. Remember on Family Law Seattle, we had a video on the front page. It doesn't show on this page for Seattle Family Law. Good old Google. Best Divorce Attorney Seattle, Dubois Carey Law Group. And here again, you've got that video showing up, but it didn't show up when we put Seattle first. Did you notice that? And again, on everything she owns, videos. In fact, I can go around. Here's one to, what's this search term? Best Divorce Attorney Seattle. That isn't really a term we work. She just kind of shows up there. And it's because we've scooped up all these long tails keywords. But here's what's interesting that's happened with Amanda. Best Divorce Attorney Seattle. And down at the bottom, Google shows you other top related search terms that people have used relative to the search term you're using to help guide you to more search results. And it's interesting, you notice down here at the bottom of the page, here's Goldberg Jones and here's Dubois Carey Law Group. They're actually searches. So this tells us people are actually now, they've heard of her. They're actually putting in her group term to search for her rather than trying to find her through business-related terms. She's gotten coverage now that her name's become more commonplace and people are putting her in search engines based on the name of her firm. So, but I mean, you go to any of these links at the bottom, she shows there. See that? That's going to Divorce Lawyer Seattle. There's her video. Best Divorce Lawyer Seattle. Dubois Carey. Best Divorce Attorney Seattle. She shows in. So, I mean, when people start clicking on these terms at the bottom and people use these, okay, and your company keeps popping up on the front page, do you get the authority you have with them? Do you get the social proof you have with them? Do you understand the impact this has on consumers? Because, again, marketing is about consumer perception, right? It's about doing the work to get you here, but what that leads to is a consumer. Everything I've shown you here is breaking down that trust barrier. Google trusts this company. She's on the pages multiple times. Google trusts this lady. She owns the video pages. Google trusts this lady. She's got a 5-star rating with Google reviews, okay? Google trusts this lady. They put her everywhere. You're starting to understand how that all builds up and breaks through that psychological trust barrier that we talked and told you about had to be broken through. Critical to marketing. Okay, let's take a look at, I want to just go through some videos because we've started marketing for her in her new office locations in Bellevue, and she just opened Kirkland 2 weeks ago, okay? So I want to just show you, if I go to Divorce Lawyers Kirkland, she's not on the front page yet, but let me show you the inroads that we've been able to make with videos in 2 weeks' time. Amanda. 8 out of the 10 spots. So here's where we begin, right? And virtually any search term that you looked for, like Family Law Attorneys Kirkland, we have already populated. The video walls. You can see here, 8 out of 10 is Amanda. And I can go into other areas around Seattle. You know, any big city has little cities around it, right? There's one here called Mercer Island, very high income area, and she owns this. She owns a whole wall. I mean, she doesn't even have an office in Mercer Island, but this shows you what we can do with videos to spread your message, and I think you've seen that videos are pretty popular way to market. And people watch them. I don't think she doesn't have an office here. She's not going to be listed here. But we've taken over the video page in a town located next to her where she doesn't even have an office location. Okay? So we're spreading her message out about the community. So it really gives us great feeling when we see things work for clients like this, and this is typically what we see. When clients listen to us and take our advice, they get the results that they're looking for. And so I think you see here a well-managed SEO marketing plan that, as you've seen, we dominate everywhere, okay? So I think I'm going to wrap this up on the video. I want to review, hang on, let me pull up this one slide. Remember, we talked about these psychological buying triggers, right? I want you to understand now, after seeing this live review, what we can do for clients. Does she have authority? You know, we talked about multiple rankings on Google's first page, owning video in Google and YouTube, and her reviews, social proof. She has it all right there on her website. She's got those authority badges, super lawyers, etc. This lady presents an image to the public, and it's not just an image, she really is, but she has authority in her niche, all right? She has likability. People love her videos. I mean, she comes across very well on videos, and that's opened the door to many new clients for her by doing those and giving people a glimpse from her of her before they even meet her. She doesn't have a case study, but she has the social proof and the public approval, and this is where these reviews come in. We're going to cover some stats on those here in a minute. So she has that. And no scarcity, that's not needed in her case. She doesn't even get free consultations. She even charges for those. Her paid consultations, even if they don't become clients, pay for her marketing for a full year. I mean, it's amazing how we have this clicking for her. And specialization, she doesn't advertise herself as a specialist. She's a family law attorney, and she does all the family law stuff, but she's primarily into divorce. The more complex, the better. She likes big cases, okay? So what did you think of asking about these questions when we went through this? I mean, how do you stack up to her? Looking at your law site right now, how does your presence and online presence stack up with what you've just seen? Okay? That's what you need to go. Would people choose her, or would they choose you? Would they choose your competitor, or would they choose you, now that you know what to look for? And again, this is regardless of niche. This works the same. The psychology, this consumer perception, these buying triggers are the same regardless of the niche you're in, whether you're an attorney, a dentist, a doctor, cosmetic surgeon, roofer, whatever you may be. It's the same, okay? Let's take a look at global trust. Let's start wrapping this up, and I'll cover a few more things with you here real quick. And I want to spend a few minutes on branding because there's a huge misunderstanding about what branding really is, particularly to a local business. This is the Nielsen Global Trust and Advertising Survey 2014, and this is where trust comes from. Number one, recommendations from people I know. People trust those 84% of the time, okay? And so if I tell someone that I went to a restaurant and had a great experience, typically they'll believe me and they'll go try it. Most powerful form of marketing there is, it's always has been. And this is typically how businesses grew. The way businesses grow is they lead with their reputation. If you look at history and how any business has expanded and grown from a local company into a national company, it's because they lead with their reputation. They lead with the good things people say about them. People believe what other people say about you and your service or product more than what you say about your service or product yourself, okay? Because it's coming from non-biased sources. What's the second thing they trust the most? Branded websites. And I can't stress this enough. If you're not mobile, you need to get mobile. We do extensive mobile website development, whether you want a mobile responsive website or whether it's best for you to go mobile specific. You know, we do what's best for our clients, depending on the business niche they're in. The third highest rated trust in advertising is consumer opinions posted online. 68% of consumers trust what they read about you in reviews. We've even broken it down further. I mean, consumers say they need to see about 10 reviews about you before they trust you, okay? And so it's more than just getting one or two. You need a plethora of good reviews about your company. That is the social proof people are looking for. That is the expectation they have of business today. They want that 5-star experience regardless of the business type you are. It's not just resorts and restaurants and hotels anymore. It's lawyers and doctors and dentists and cosmetic surgeons and roofers and plumbers and HVAC guys and any other business you can think of. People want to know they're dealing with somebody that's going to give them the service that they expect, okay? Editorial content such as newspaper articles, ads on TV, brand sponsorships, ads in newspaper. Look at this, emails they sign up for. If you're running an email list, they believe what other consumers say about you more than what they believe that you read what you write in your own email. Okay? So this kind of tells you how this breaks down psychologically for the consumer and the powerful things you need to break through that trust barrier. All right? And this is just backup for what I've already told you today. So what are the most powerful marketing strategies working today? And this is what you should be concentrating on for 2016. Okay? SEO continues to be the highest ROI form of internet marketing that you can buy because it places you organically on the front page of Google, and people find you when they search for you based upon your related search terms. And if you have reviews, if you have a good reputation, which you see there number 2, they're going to choose your company. Now, you heard me talk about the order of things when I was talking about reputation. You need to have reviews by the time you hit the front page of Google, or it's a wasted effort. Okay? I think you've seen what I showed you, how barren it looks for people to be in those boxes at the top of Google if they're surrounded by people that have 5-star ratings or 4.8 ratings and they don't have a single review. Nobody's going to click on them. It's human nature to want the best, right? So reputation is one of the most powerful things you can use to market. Reputation, SEO, video. I think I've demonstrated to you how powerful video is, and it's going to continue to be more powerful. Mobile. You simply have to have a mobile responsive or a mobile specific site. I'm going to show you some stats here in a minute that are going to blow your mind on mobile. Social. There are hundreds of social media platforms out there. As a business person, you don't have the ability to work all of those. You need to concentrate on the 2 that are the most prevalent, and that's Facebook and LinkedIn. Okay? Facebook is 75% mobile. All right? Anything you post on mobile, if you're trying to bring them to a non-mobile website, they're not going to stay because 75% of Facebook's traffic is on mobile. Facebook is an incredible place to advertise. LinkedIn is an incredible place to build a reputation and to reach out and engage with consumers. So those are the 2 platforms that you want to concentrate on. We do some amazing things with Facebook and sales funnels and targeted ads, bringing people to, like with Amanda, you saw that page we had for her on the divorce report, right? So we can drive people to that with Facebook advertising, and then we use Facebook retargeting. And I'll talk about that here again in a minute. Advertising, there's 2 places you want to be advertising. Google AdWords, which is based on search-related terms and words, okay? And the other place you want to advertise is Facebook, which is entirely based on demographics. Male, female, age, what they do, what their interests are, etc. So depending on the type of business you are, determines which platform would be the best for you, right? And so, that's something we look at separately with each business. I told you it's a couple minutes here on branding, because most people totally misunderstand what brand is, okay? Branding, here's the best definition I can come up with. It's the emotional response and experience you want customers, which would include clients and patients, okay? The emotional response and experience you want customers to have every time they come into contact with your company, product, or service, right? You want them to feel good about you when they see your name, your product, or your service, okay? So how do you achieve that? This is a question that's in everybody's minds. Man, I'm going to go brand myself. I can't tell you how many people I hear say that. That just makes me curl up in a ball. Can you buy brand with advertising and pretty logo or packaging, which is what most people try to do when they think of branding? Is that branding? No, that's corporate imaging. Now, a logo or your package may become symbolic of your brand, but it is not your brand, particularly for a local business, okay? If you're talking a national business, everybody recognizes Coca-Cola and Starbucks, right? You got to understand, those guys started as local businesses. Coca-Cola started in a 6-block square area. And after a year, they were averaging 9 sales a day out of one fountain that served that whole 6-block area at a nickel a glass. 45 cents a day in total revenue, and they decided to expand to the next 6-block area based on that. And they led with their reputation, okay? That's how companies grow. People hear about you, they want your service or product. Now, with a local business, you're not expanding nationwide. You're expanding across a 5 or 10 mile area. 80% of your customers are probably going to come from within a 5-mile radius, right? 90% within a 10 mile. And so you need to brand yourself in that 10-mile area, right? You're not going to be expanding, but you still want to lead with reputation. You want to push your reputation because that's what your brand really is. In the local market, the branding formula for local business, you know, we talk about that trust barrier. The trust factor plus your reputation equals your brand. In the local market, you cannot, do not let this simple explanation escape you. This is what it boils down to. Your trust factor plus your reputation, all those online reviews, that is your brand. That's your brand, okay? And you need to become aware of that. That's really what brands your company. If you've got a good reputation in the community and people trust you, that's your brand. Take a look at Nordstrom's in Seattle, right? That's how they started. Different niche, but it's all about trust, customer service, performing for them the way you say, getting them to leave you a review, getting them to send you more clients. When you're doing that, you've developed brand. Okay, mobile versus desktop. U.S. local search market, mobile versus desktop. In 2015, mobile usage crossed desktop usage by a lot. You can see where it crossed right here. And mobile's going to continue to go up, okay? If you are not mobile, 61% of mobile users will leave your website if you do not have a mobile version of it. They don't have time to pinch and scroll and slide around trying to look at the desktop version of your website on a mobile phone. If you're not mobile, they leave. If you're not mobile, you're losing 60% of the market before they even know who you are. Okay? And if you're not mobile, you need to call me because we can fix that for you. So mobile is the wave of the future. Mobile, tablets. I mean, you know, I walk in Starbucks anymore, and I don't even see people talking to each other. They're sitting at tables on their mobile phones texting someone else, right? I mean, mobile phones, unbelievable. The way they've exploded and the way mobile has taken over the internet. And again, you know, everything we do responds to mobile. Videos respond to mobile. Facebook, 75% of the traffic's mobile. I mean, if you don't get the picture yet, you've got to wake up. Now then, typically in a small business, and I want to go over this slide with you, and I'm going to close, okay? What's really inside a professional service business? Attorney, dentist, doctor, contractor. Whoops, a misspelling. Oh, contractors, what that should say. Sorry about that, etc. You know, the first time I talked to a potential client and I asked them what their closing ratio is, invariably I'm told 50% or better. And invariably the truth is way beneath that, okay? More people, more professional service businesses need help on their internals so that they can measure what works. Most businesses have no idea what works. They throw money at a lot of different things. They have no way to measure it. They have no way to define their marketing plan and improve it because they have no metrics to tell them what's working, what's delivering an ROI, and what isn't. Okay? And that's typically what we run into when we talk to any business. And so these are the typical problems that we find in any professional service business, be you an attorney, dentist, doctor, etc. Okay? Lead generation. Everybody needs more clients, customers, or patients. And so we've been doing this so long, and I'm not going to show it to you today, but we actually have marketing matrices broken down for every type of business out there, whether you're an attorney, a doctor, or a dentist. And for each of these problems, we have marketing solutions for it and what works best depending upon the type of business you are. Okay? So you need clients, SEO, gain front page listings, advertising, PPC, retargeting, Google AdWords. That's going to drive more traffic to your website, and you're going to get more clients. But you've got to have your website ready to go, right? We've talked about that. You've got to have your authority badges on it. You've got to have reviews.
you've got to have the proper pieces in place before you start driving traffic in order that your conversion rates are good, okay? You know, you get traffic, then it becomes how many converted, how many turned into patients, right? So you need more clients. Those are typically the service they offer. Lead capture. No lead funnel to get names. And I demonstrated this to you with that thing we have for Amanda, the free divorce planner report. So she has a lead capture system in place. She has a landing page. It's mobile, as I demonstrated to you. And so she's capturing potential prospects' information and nurturing those leads through that system that automatically sends out a series of emails with sequenced messaging. Okay? So that system we set up for her does this. It nurtures those needs, nurtures those leads that we capture. They give us their email address to sign up so that we can send them from an autoresponder pre-sequenced emails telling them what we want them to do next. All right? So this solves the problem of no bonding with prospects, no prospect communication or follow-up. Now, we can also implement these systems for existing customers, clients, or patients, depending on your business. We might want to start an internal nurturing campaign. You can do that with a newsletter. You can set up email newsletters so that people are always keeping you top of mind. There's lots that we can do to nurture new leads, but also nurture an existing customer base or reignite customers or clients that you haven't seen in a while, right? Sales conversion. So you get the leads. How do you convert them? What converts them? Conversion, reputation, marketing, and social media, right? We talked about bad or no reputation. What's going to convert these people? It's the social proof of other people going on and on and on about all the good things about your business, right? They're hearing it from someone besides you. And that's going to dramatically increase your conversion rates. With our reputation marketing, we have a system that takes care of all of this for you. It collects the reviews, it sorts the reviews, it tells the people where to go post them publicly. So we manage the different review sites. We monitor your reviews so we can advise you if anybody's written a review that you aren't aware of when it shows up online. We turn your reviews. We post your reviews first in social media, then we return your reviews into graphics and post to social media, and finally we return your views. That's hard to say. Return your reviews. That's some tongue twisting there. We turn them into videos that we post on YouTube. So we follow a system. It's establish the reputation, expand your reach, do brand optimization by pushing out your reputation with your videos and your graphics to social media, and all of that becomes a beautiful working process that builds the public perception of you and who you are. It gives you the social proof you need. And finally, many clients I talk with can't even answer questions about what they have going on. So for that, we do a complete website audit for you free of charge. If you have no idea what's working, where you are in search, what you're doing, what you're not doing, and what is working and what isn't, we can do website audits for you that define the problems you have and what you need to do to fix them. Okay? And I'd invite you to do that. If you like some of the things I've shared with you today, it's pretty obvious we know what we're doing with SEO. Seattle's a very, very large competitive city, right? You've seen us just eating up Google search, Google video, reviews. I mean, everything is clicking. Now, let me give you some numbers on that. We have this figured out for Amanda that with all the marketing we spend, she spends on us with her, and she does advertising, she does AdWords, it's a complete marketing plan. But her total traffic breaks down to about $6 a visit from all sources. So for every 100 clients, she's spending $600 to get them to her website to take a look at her. And if she has just a 1% closing rate and her average ticket's $20,000, it's costing her $600 to land a $20,000 client. That's ROI. That's how it's supposed to work, okay? And so I would invite you to get in touch with us. We offer a free initial consultation. It doesn't cost you anything to talk to me, and I'm sure I can give you some good ideas and lead and guide you into some things you should be doing. And hopefully you'll decide to go with us after talking with us. We're pretty nice people, and we kind of have a pretty bright idea about what's going on. But just visit our website. Again, We're at crazymonkeymedia.net, crazymonkeymedia.net, brand optimization, digital media marketing. And you can see right here on the site, if you want a free consultation, all you have to do is fill out this form and hit the button. And we'll be happy to set you up. Or, obviously, you can give us a call or email us at any time. But there's many ways to contact you right from our site, crazymonkeymedia.net, crazymonkeymedia.net. This is Michael Bell, but thanks so much for listening. I hope I've shared some information that is valuable to you and helpful to you. With that, have a great day, and thanks for your time.